welcome back to another Raw Read pop-up. Yes, I am popping up. Why? Because we have something to talk about. Because we have something to chit-chat about. Something to kiki about. And really be serious about. Not so much messy as being serious. And this is what I'm talking about. Now, y'all know I did a podcast yesterday about all of the things that were going on. I'm telling you, Meghan was a triple threat yesterday. She had her products drop, she had her series drop with Love Meghan, and she also had an interview. And I didn't talk that much about with Love Meghan, mainly because I hadn't got through it yet. And I'm telling you, I'm on not season 2, what am I saying? I'm on episode 2 and I am loving it. I'm taking my time. That is the approach that I am going to take because it is so much. Meghan is just dropping so much in it. I just want to take my time. I know, to each his own. Some people like to binge watch, and I have nothing against that. Last time, the first season, that's exactly what I did. And I did the same thing with Polo. But for some reason, this time, I'm feeling like I just want to enjoy it. So, like I said, to each his own. I don't care how you watch it, just so you watch it. So, with all that said, I wanted to talk about the interview. Now, I did a lot of talking about the interview in my last podcast, but it was something that I did not touch on because I said I wanted to make a pop-up about it. Because I really felt like it was something that needed to be expanded on, and it would have made my podcast way, 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 way too long. So that is the reason why I'm doing this pop-up. And what I want to talk about is how this Emily Chang started asking Meghan political questions. Now, I didn't like that. No, I did not like that one bit. And the reason I didn't like that is Meghan is a private citizen. She is a business owner. I don't see anybody else running around asking business owners about politics. I just found that really off-putting. I really did. And I found it to be malicious. And I use that word for a reason because everybody knows the climate in which we are living in here in America. Everybody knows. And for her to ask a question like that and knowing that Meghan is married to an immigrant here in America, someone who came here to America, and the climate that's going on with immigrants in America at this time, for her to ask Meghan a question like that, I found it malicious. I did. Now, if you disagree with that word, let me know in the comments, but I really do. And when I say malicious, I mean malicious intent. Now, some of the readers, some of the squatties that have been in my comments are saying that her approach could have came with some influence from Kensington Palace, meaning that Michael Bloomberg is really tight with Willie. He is. They do Earth Flock together. And so I don't know if that's the reason. I don't know if he said something or something had been said, or it just was up to Emily Chang to try to impress him. I don't know what was going on there, but I found it inappropriate and I found it malicious. Why? Why would you ask her political questions? Why? unless you wanted to start something, that you wanted to create controversy. Controversy. And that is the reason why I use the word malicious, because malicious is to intentionally do harm. And I feel it was intentional. Now, that is my belief, and I am standing 10 toes down on that. But I'm going to start with this one right here, and we're going to talk about this because, like I said, it left a bad taste in my mouth. It really, really did. And also, I want to say this. It is some back and forth going on these internet streets. Now, it is some squatties who really feel that Meghan should have stepped up and said something. But I tend to think that these are squatties that have not been in the game as long as us OG squatties. Hadn't saw what Meghan has gone through. I mean, it was a man literally saying that Meghan should be stripped naked with SHIT thrown at her. Okay? That's how low down and dirty it got. So I tend to think that these people are new to the game, because if they're old to the game, they know they're talking nonsense. And let me tell you, I don't like the back and forth when it comes to squatties. I don't. And I definitely do not like telling anybody what to do, because y'all know me. I don't like anybody telling me nothing. And so, since I am like that, I don't like telling other people how to behave or how to think or anything. That's the reason why I am constantly asking your opinion. I'm not trying to shape your opinion in any form or fashion. I just tell you what I think. So, with all that said, it is some squatties going in on each other. They are. And it's the old school squatty is schooling the ones who just are coming in and say, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Why in the world would you think she should say something? So that is what we're going to talk about. Like I said, I'm going to put this up. And this particular squatty is talking about the, interview overall. And overall, I really feel that Meghan did an excellent job. She did. She knows how to handle herself with I won't say that this woman was hostile. That's the first word jumped in my y'all know me. That's the first word that jumped in my head, hostile. But I would say with someone with a set agenda. I put it that way. And Meghan handled herself like a pro. She really, really did. And so I'm so proud of her. And I'm going to put this up. This squatty said, I just love how no question phases Meghan. Like girl asked, you see how she answered every single question without hesitation. And every answer was absolutely perfect. Well done, Meg. Yes, well done. I'm telling you, Meghan absolutely outmaneuvered her at every turn. Now, I'm going to be messy here just a little bit, but can you imagine Kitty Cat being in that situation? That is the reason why Kitty Cat hadn't had an interview since her engagement interview when she was up there struggling with them 2 or 3 sentences, trying to get them tied to the point where she just said, yeah, okay. Kitty Cat was fighting for dear life. She was fighting for her life, trying to get those 2 or 3 sentences tied together to make some sense. She was. It was so funny. Y'all know the one I'm talking about, the one that Byron plays all the time. He absolutely cracks me up with that one. He does. But I digress. But y'all know, if it wasn't a little messiness in it, it would not be me. But yes, Meghan was unfazed. So I'm going to put this up. And this particular post and a few other posts from other squatties really have a lot of the OG squatties kind of going in on some of the new ones who really feel that Meghan should and could be political. And this is just one of them. I just chose this particular post to give you a feel of what is being said out here on these internet streets. And this squatty said, saying you've got nothing to say about the political climate in the grand year of 2025 is an interesting choice to me. And that right there kind of set it off. And like I said, this is not the only squatty. This is not the only squatty. And I'm not picking on this particular squatty, because like I said, everybody came into this community at different times and hadn't been there for the complete journey. It's a lot of squatties who are squatties and don't know who Tina and Michelle is. So, yeah, when you have gone all the way back to Tina and Michelle, you have kind of a different perspective on a whole lot of things than someone who maybe came in a month ago, 2 months ago, a year ago, or so. Because we have gone through the whole journey with Meghan, and we know what would happen to her if she did anything like that, like this particular squatter is asking her to do. And I just find this whole post to be very judgmental, to say the least. And it's dismissive of the pain and all of the persecution and ridicule and all of the detriment that Meghan and Harry has gone through these past 8 years this has been going on, because it was going on during the time that they were working roles. So yeah. And then it's another squatty came up under here that seemed to agree with this squatty and said, for the record, I don't expect Meghan to take on the administration, but refusing to acknowledge what's happening in the country and claiming you have nothing to say comes across as deeply tone deaf. Yeah, that right there. It didn't sit well with some OG squatties. It really didn't. And they kind of went in. They did. And like I said, I am not a squatty, a member of of this community. I don't claim that I am a leader of this community. Nobody, it's no leaders here. And that's the reason why I am very apprehensive about, going in on another squatty. Pushing back on another squatty, telling another squatty what to do. Because like I said, I don't want nobody telling me what to do. So I always try to treat people with that same respect that I want. But this one was a little over the line. I think something really had to be said, especially from the OG squatties on this, because yeah, we have been there since the beginning. And we know exactly why Meghan said what she said, and that was nothing. That was nothing. Because can you imagine the firestorm it would have been if she had said something? If she had said something, it would have been a firestorm. They would have been talking about it in the press conference at the White House, at the press briefing. I would have not been surprised if Trump did not call a press conference just so he could bash Harry and Meghan. And let's not forget that old Val Nile Gardner from the Heritage Foundation, who has been trying to do everything he could to get Harry sent back to the UK. Meghan does not have, she does not have the personal capital to spend on nonsense like this. I'm not saying the political climate is nonsense. I'm saying nonsense of asking her to participate in it. Because let's not get it twisted, it's a lot of people not participating in it. Because the people who really, really cared about this situation did what they needed to do on November 6th. I said what I said. I said what I said. And nothing Meghan would have said would have changed any of it. It would have only brought on a firestorm. And Meghan knew that. So she sidestepped it. And all I can say is, so what? So what? Meghan chose the safety and well being of her family. And I don't have a problem with that. And if you have a problem with it, maybe you need to kind of reevaluate why you're really here. I'm just saying. All right, y'all, I'm going to put up some of the posts that squatties have, posted about this particular post and this particular topic, because it's a lot of talk being, it's a lot being said about it. And this particular squatty said this: I understand her reasons not to discuss politics, especially after what she's had to go through. She still has a whole country's media on her arse that she left 6 years ago. She ain't trying to have another country's media on her back that she currently lives in. Where is the lie? Because this would have been the whole talk. I'm telling you, it would have been a firestorm. It would have been I'm telling you, they would have came down on her like a ton of bricks. They would have buried her. Meghan knew exactly what she was doing. Yes, it is a climate for some people to speak up, but that somebody is not Meghan. Meghan has a family to think about. She has her husband to think about. So, what are you talking about? And she said what she needed to say, like I said, on November 6th. Let's not forget, Archwell had a whole event around voting. Y'all remember that? Where they had this letter writing project where they were writing letters to people to remind them how important it was to vote. So, and Meghan said that she voted. Well, we know she didn't vote for the other guy. She did what she needed to do. What are you talking about? I cannot. You need to be talking to the ones who didn't do what they were supposed to do on November 6th. That's what I'm saying. And I'm going to put this one up. This squatty said, I'm starting to think some of you fans of Meghan secretly want harm to come her way or want her to be the sacrificial lamb for your political agenda. Meghan is not that. There are ways to affect change without saying something explosive. Exactly. Exactly. And like I said, Meghan did what she needed to do on November 6th. And it's very easy to pass judgment on someone who would be out front and would have to take the full brunt of everything that is said about her for saying something. You are an anonymous person behind a keyboard. You can say whatever you want to, and it's not going to be any backlash. Can you imagine the backlash that Meghan would receive? It's as if people don't understand the gravity of the whole situation. I'm just saying. I'm going to put this one up. This squatty says it's giving parasocial illness, and they want her to do what they want. If you're making political statements behind a faceless account, you're doing so because you know there is risk involved, especially now. But Meghan is supposed to jump to the front? No, ma'am. Exactly. Exactly. Where is the lie? want Meghan to be all up front and you're making comments from a faceless account. Stop it. All right, I'm gonna put this up, and this is some more responses to the well, this is Squatty's having the conversations. I mean, it's not just this person who posted that. It's other people posting saying that she should have been upfront about this political, landscape, and she should have said something. But old school Squatties are not on board with that. Not at all. Because, like I said, we know what the consequences of this action would be. Like this particular squatty, I'm gonna put up these squatties. I'm telling you, they kind of went in a little bit. This first one said, "Girl, sit the F down. That lady doesn't need any more smoke from anybody, let alone the POTUS. Y'all just be saying anything. Where is the lie?" Because, like I said, it would have been a news conference because he is trying to change the subject because it is things that he doesn't want to talk about. And he would have used this. This would have been a gift, a gift. So, like this particular squatter said, take a seat, take a seat. We love you now. We love you, but take a seat. And the next one said, "Give it a rest and shut the F up, biatch." Meghan doesn't owe you or anyone a damn thing. You sanctimonious heifers are insufferable. Yeah, that's an old school squatty if I ever heard one. Yeah, that's definitely one. And the next one said, "You're an op." Now, I don't believe this person is an op because I have saw them behind, around on these internet streets, and they have never given me any kind of indication that they are op. But I'm telling you, old school squatties don't play. They don't. And the next one said, "And what will change once she says something? She's not a politician. Go harass someone else. Despicable." Yes, Meghan is not a politician. She's not. She's a businesswoman. And she sells to all kinds of people. So she cannot be making all of these kinds of political statements. It could hurt her business. So stop it. The next one says, "Just say you want her to say something to beat her with for the coming years." Meghan has learned the hard way to just mind her business, and she is the queen of minding her business. Her and Beyonce do nothing but mind their business, and let her continue. And then it goes on to say, "And y'all still find fault in that. Leave the woman alone and call up your political representatives and ask them to do something." Woo! Where is the lie? Where is it? Yes. Call up your congressperson. Call up your senator. Do that. How about that? And the next one says, "Weren't you just tweeting yesterday that nothing would happen because Harry's a privileged prince, even though you know very well that with all that privilege, they still couldn't escape abuse. You're so funny." Yes, they think she's an op. Like I said, I've been seeing her on here for a while on these internet streets, and this is the only time I personally have saw her say something a little sideways. And like I said, she's not the only one. I have saw several comments, and let me tell you, the squatties continue to go in. At least the OG squatties and the ones who know, they have sit back and saw the abuse that Harry and Meghan has had to suffer for no good reason. So you're going to give them a good reason? Can you imagine what kind of abuse will come with that? I cannot. And this one right here is nothing but chef's kiss. This squatty says, "You people want Meghan to risk her safety and that of her family so that you can have something controversial to quote on the internet for a fleeting viral moments while you sit comfortably in your houses. Get the F out of here. You made your choices in November. Live with it. Exactly. And you would do better to call your senator, call your congressperson, and call your family members, because we all know a load of the family members are the problems. Yes, it's not Meghan. Meghan's not the problem. Your MAGA family members are the problems, and you need to start having conversations with them and leave Meghan alone. I'm just saying, because that's the only thing that's going to help. You have those conversations first. I'm just saying. And I'm going to put this one up. And this one said, I'm glad to hear Megan Sussex is on break, like the 92% of the rest of us Black American women are. We did our part. Unfortunately, the others voted for the convicted felon who is a sex on predator, but y'all want us to say something. No, ma'am. Exactly. All I can say is, where is the lie? And like I said earlier, you would do better talking to your MAGA family members. Those are the people you need to be talking to, and not Meghan, because she did her part. I even proved that she did her part. So I don't understand what the problem here is. Y'all need to talk to your MAGA family members, talk to your senators, talk to your congressperson. Those are the people who can actually do something. And Meghan has her own family to consider. And I don't blame her for that. You've been beat down as much as Meghan has been beat down, and you want her to absolutely get in line to get a beating just because you feel like she should say something? Stop it. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Y'all tell me, should Meghan had said something? Like I said, I don't think so. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this one up, and it says, keep on streaming. Yes, go over to Netflix and stream with love. Meghan, like I said in my last podcast, listen, how many clicks you get on Twitter, Netflix doesn't count that. It does not. It does not count tweets and likes. So you need to go over to Netflix and do your streaming over there. So yes, I am headed right now to go into episode 2. Well, finish episode 2. So, and gonna watch episode 3. Like I said, I'm gonna savor it. I am. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all a little later. Bye.